The silence after the stormed room had been full just seconds ago. Cameras clicking, voices rising. Quiet tension held behind every smile. They were all there, producers, assistants, makeup artists. And in the center of it, Ana de Armas. Her eyes sparkled under the soft studio lights, but there was something behind her smile. Something brittle. Something she didn't want anyone to see. Keanu Reeves stood a few steps away, leaning against a wall with a paper cup in his hand. He hadn't said much all morning. He rarely did unless it mattered. And today, something told him it would. Macarena had been off since sunrise. Not in a loud way, not in a dramatic way, just ... distant. Like someone holding a breath for too long. Her laugh came late. Her eyes didn't meet his. When they did, she looked away too fast. Then it happened. A young executive, someone new, someone trying to make a name, threw out a comment. Maybe he thought it was harmless. Maybe he thought it was funny. Maybe he didn't think at all. Ana, you need to stop acting like you're the only one who's tired. Everyone works hard here. The room went quiet. Stillness fell like a sheet. Ana didn't answer. She didn't look at him. She just stood there, frozen, lips slightly open, hands clutched in front of her. Then, slowly, she blinked, took one breath, and walked out. No words, no glare, no rush. Just one long step after another until the door closed behind her. Keanu single quotes his eyes followed her.
Dice.
His fingers tightened around the paper cup until it bent in the middle. He didn't look. At the executive, he didn't need to. Someone else would handle that. But nobody was going to follow Ana except him. He placed the cup on a nearby tray, stepped away from the wall, and walked toward the DoorDash quietly. Outside the hallway, Ana stood alone by the window. Her back was turned. Her shoulders were trembling. One hand was covering her mouth. The other hung at her side. Keanu didn't say anything, just walked closer and stopped beside her. He didn't look at her face, didn't ask questions, just stood, still offering presents. Ana didn't look up right away. She didn't want him to see the tears, but she felt him there, steady, unmoving, like an anchor in a storm. And it broke her. Why do people assume I'm not trying? She whispered. Why do they talk to me like I'm difficult, like I'm weak? Keanu didn't speak. He gave her space. Space to breathe. Space to say more. I didn't sleep last night, she said. I had a migraine, and I still came. I still showed up. And all it takes is one comment. ... one sentence. I feel like I don't belong. Her voice cracked. I'm so tired of proving myself over and over. Keanu looked out the window. The city moved slowly below them. Cars, people, lights. Blinking in quiet rhythm. You don't have to prove anything to me, he said softly. Ana turned toward him, her eyes red. Why are you here? Keanu finally looked at her, his face calm, gentle. Because no one should cry alone. The words weren't big, but they hit her like a wave. She didn't speak. She just closed her eyes and leaned slightly forward. Not for comfort, not to be held. Just to be near someone who understood, and Keanu didn't move. They stood like that. Two actors in a hallway where no one was watching, where the lights didn't matter, where fame couldn't hide the ache. Ana wiped her tears and gave a soft laugh. I probably look a mess. Keanu smiled. You look human. And for the first time that day, Ana breathed fully. No tension. No performance. Just breath. But the moment wasn't over. From the other side of the hallway, they heard footsteps. Fast approaching. A producer with a clipboard and panic in her voice. Ana, I'm so sorry. You shouldn't have said that. We've spoken to him. You don't have to come back right now. Take all the time you need. We'll reschedule. Ana looked at her, nodded politely, but didn't speak. The producer hesitated, glanced at Keanu, and walked away. Ana turned back to the window. Sometimes, I wish I could disappear for a day, she said. Just vanish. No cameras. No lines. No judgments. Keanu tilted his head slightly. What if you could? She looked at him. I have a cabin, not far. No signal, no press. Just trees and silence. If you want to disappear, I'll take you. Ana stared at him. unsure, hesitant. Why would you do that? Keanu's voice didn't change. Because someone did it for me once. Keanu's eyes searched his, and what she saw there wasn't pity. It was understanding. Quiet, real understanding. She didn't answer right away. The idea felt too fragile to say yes to. But deep down something shifted. Something opened and she nodded. A small, tired nod. Keanu just said, "Okay, double quotes, no pressure, no expectations. Just an offer of peace." And that day, though she didn't know it yet, was the beginning of something she'd never forget. Not a romance, not a rescue, but something deeper. A journey back to herself. And someone who would walk beside her in silence. Not to fix her, but to see her. And in that quiet hallway, something unspoken passed between them. And for the first time in weeks, Anna didn't feel alone. The road to nowhere felt like home's sun was low when the car rolled out of the studio lot. No cameras, no security detail. No one watching. Keanu was driving, hands steady on the wheel. Anna sat beside him, her eyes half closed behind a pair of old sunglasses she'd borrowed from makeup. The city passed them in quiet pieces, billboards, buildings, blurred faces, and Anna didn't look back once. No. One asked where she was going. She hadn't told anyone. Just slipped away like smoke. In the wind, the only message she left behind was a quiet text to her assistant. "Gone for a day. I'm safe." Don't worry, Keanu didn't say much. He wasn't the kind to fill silence with noise. He only spoke when her thoughts got too loud. And somehow, she liked that. She didn't have to pretend in front of him. Not today. "At the cabin?" she asked softly, eyes still watching the highway curve into hills. Keanu thought for a second. Quiet old books, firewood, a kettle that whistles too loud, a dog I feed even though it's not mine. Anna smiled a little. "Does the dog have a name?" "Not really. I just call him Friend." "What if he wants something more poetic?" "Then I'll let him tell me one day." Anna turned her face toward the window again. The sun was slipping behind the hills now. Gold turned to copper. Shadows stretched across the road. The world outside looked peaceful. Nothing like the world they usually lived in. For a while, neither of them spoke. The air inside the car was warm, calm. Then Keanu glanced at her. "I love you." "Okay?" Anna didn't answer right away, and she said, "I feel like I left something behind, but I don't know what. Maybe it's not something you left," he said. "Maybe it's something you outgrew." His words sat with her. Deep, quiet, true. The road narrowed as they climbed. Trees thickened. Phone signals disappeared. And finally, just as the sky turned dark purple, Keanu pulled into a gravel path and parked near a wooden cabin tucked beneath. Tall pines? It wasn't big, but it was real. A porch with a single chair. A door with old paint, and the kind of silence that felt alive. Anna stepped out slowly, breathed in the scent of pine and earth. It smelled like stillness. It smelled like something she'd forgotten existed. "This is beautiful," she whispered Keanu. Unlocked the door and pushed it open. "Come inside. I'll make tea." The cabin was simple. One room. Wooden floors. A fireplace. A couch that had seen better days. 2 chairs that didn't match. Shelves full of books that didn't care about matching either. Anna walked in like someone stepping into a memory she hadn't lived yet. She ran her hand over the back of the couch, over the rough wood of the table. Everything here was real. Nothing was for show. Keanu lit a small fire. He moved slowly, carefully, like someone who respected silence. Didn't look at her too. Much didn't try to comfort her with words. He let her feel what she needed to feel. She sat near the fire, curled her knees up, watched the flames flicker. He handed her a mug of tea. She held it with both hands, grateful for the warmth. "Did you build this place?" she asked. "No, I found it. How I was lost." Anna looked up. Keanu met her eyes and added gently, "I was looking for quiet, for something that wasn't asking me to smile or explain or perform. This place didn't care who I was. It just let me breathe." Anna nodded slowly. Her voice was soft. "I think I forgot how to breathe." Keanu leaned back in his chair. "Then this is a good place to remember." The fire crackled. The dog from earlier friend appeared at the door, shaggy.com. Familiar. Anna smiled and patted her lap. The dog hesitated, then came over and sat beside her, not in her lap. Just close enough. He likes you, Keanu said. He doesn't even know me. Sometimes that's better. They sat like that for hours. Tea turning cold. Fire burning low. No lights. No sound but the trees whispering through the windows. And for the first time in weeks, maybe months, Sana didn't feel tired. Not in the soul-deep way she usually did. It wasn't because someone fixed her, it was because no one asked her to be anyone. Not even herself. Just someone breathing in a room. Full of quiet. Keanu eventually rose and lit a single lamp. The soft glow filled the cabin with a golden warmth. He handed her a folded blanket. You can take the bed. I'll stay out here. Anna took it, then paused. You don't have to give up your space. Keanu shook his head. It's not about space. It's about rest. You need it more. She looked at him, unsure how to say thank you, but he didn't wait for words. He just turned and gently stoked the fire again. Anna stepped into the small bedroom. The bed smelled of cedar and clean sheets. She lay down, and for the first time in a long time, she didn't cry herself to sleep. She just ... slept deep, dreamless. While fire whispered stories of silence in the next room, and Keanu stayed awake a little longer, just to make sure the night stayed quiet, because sometimes kindness didn't shout, it didn't shine, it just waited and walked beside you. The morning she remembered how to breathe when Anna woke up, the cabin was still wrapped in early morning light. The window beside the bed was fogged slightly with the cold air outside, but soft gold streaks filtered through the trees. Kind of morning that didn't rush, kind that waited for you to notice it. For a moment, Anna stayed in bed, eyes half open, a blanket pulled tight. She didn't remember falling asleep, no tossing, no thinking. No running through lines or interviews or yesterday's mistakes. Just sleep. Clean and full. She sat up slowly and let her bare feet touch the wooden floor. The air was cool, fresh, not the heavy artificial kind she was used to. It smelled like pine, like bark and smoke and earth. She didn't know where her phone said her. She didn't care. She stepped out into the main room. Keanu was already up. Of course he was. He stood by the stove, back turned. Pouring hot water into a metal kettle, he turned when he heard her. You slept well, he said. It wasn't a question. It was an observation. Anna nodded. Wait. Tea. She smiled. Yes. Friend the dog looked up from his spot near the fire. His tail thumped once against the floor before settling again. Anna. What took the mug Keanu offered and wrapped her fingers around it like it was a small secret. She didn't speak for a while. She didn't need to. Neither did he. They sat near the fire again, each in their own chair, just sipping. Finally, Anna broke the quiet. You always wake up this early? Not always. Just when the silence is nice. Anna looked over. Why do you do this? The quiet, the stillness. Keanu looked into his cup. Because I used to chase things. Then I realized, ... Peace doesn't come when you catch something. It comes when you stop running. Anna's eyes dropped. I feel like I've been running for years. Maybe you have. And I don't even know what from. Keanu leaned forward slightly. Maybe it's not about what you're running from. Maybe it's who you're trying to be for everyone else. Anna blinked. He wasn't judging her. He wasn't lecturing. He was just seeing her. All the way through. She looked down at the tea in her hands. I don't remember the last time someone let me just be quiet, like ... really quiet. Keanu nodded. Most people listen to answer, not to understand. She gave a tired smile. And you. I listened to breathe. She let that settle. After breakfast, 2 apples, some toasted bread, and honey they found in the back cabinetana stepped. Outside, the trees towered above her. The world smelled green and alive. There was a soft path behind the cabin, barely marked, but she followed it anyway. Keanu didn't come. He just watched her go, and when she looked back, He gave her a small nod as if to say, "You're safe." She walked for a while. No phone, no mirrors, no voices. Just her footsteps and the soft crunch of leaves. Somewhere a bird sang low. She paused to listen. Not because it was a song she knew, just because it was there. After a few minutes, the tears came, but they weren't heavy. They didn't carry shame. They weren't broken. They were just soft and full of something she hadn't let herself feel in a long time. Released, she sat on a fallen log and cried. Quietly, not because she was sad, but because she was finally still. Enough to notice what she'd been holding. And in that moment, she let it go. Every voice that told her she wasn't enough. Every headline that cut her down. Every smile she gave when she wanted to scream. Every silent moment backstage when no one asked how she really was. She let it all fall with the tears. And when she stood up, she felt taller, not proud, not powerful, just grounded. When she returned to the cabin, Keanu was chopping wood. He didn't say anything when she came into view, but he noticed the softness in her face, the way her shoulders dropped just a little. The way she walked like someone who had set down a weight. "I got hungry," she said. "You're in luck," Keanu said, wiping his hands on a cloth. "I know how to make a very average sandwich." She laughed, the sound short and honest. They ate outside on the porch. Simple food. Shared silence. The dog curled up at their feet. "I feel different," Anna said, looking out at the trees. "Good different?" "Yes." He nodded. "Sometimes it only takes a day. How long did it take you?" Keanu looked into the trees for a long moment. Longer than it should have, he answered. They didn't speak for a while after that. Later, as the sun began to dip behind the trees, Anna turned toward him. "Will it stay? This feeling?" Keanu thought for a moment. "Not always. But you'll know how to find it again. That's the difference." "And what if I forget?" Keanu smiled softly. "Then you come back. Not here, not necessarily. But somewhere quiet, somewhere honest." Anna leaned back against the wood post and watched the colors shift through the leaves and in her heart. She promised herself she would remember. She didn't know how long they'd stay. She didn't know what waited when she returned. But for now, she knew one thing: she could finally hear herself again. When the world came calling, second morning at the cabin didn't feel like a second, it felt like a continuation, as if time had softened its edges and was moving slower on purpose. Anna woke up earlier this time, not from stress, not from noise. Just from a quiet desire to meet the day, she stepped out before the kettle even whistled. Barefoot, wrapped in a thick blanket. The grass was cold beneath her feet. The trees looked taller in the morning light. And the silence wrapped around her like something kind, something that didn't expect anything back. Keanu was already outside, sitting on the edge of the porch, hands clasped, eyes on the trees. He didn't say anything when she appeared beside him, just gave a small nod. A quiet welcome. Anna sat down next to him and whispered, "It's strange." Keanu looked over. "How fast this starts to feel normal," she said. "Peace." "Doesn't take long," he answered. "We just take long to believe we deserve it." She held those words gently. They spent the morning in small movements: breakfast, tea, a walk. The dog at their heels, pausing every few steps to check if they were still following. The air was cool, but not harsh. Birds called from far branches. Every step felt like a reminder that the world could be soft. They talked. Not about Hollywood, not about scripts or directors, but about other things. Books they never finished. Dreams they forgot. Quiet memories that never made the interviews. Anna told a story about being 13, sitting on a rooftop in Cuba, and watching her grandmother braid garlic and hang it by the window. "I don't know why I remember it so clearly," she said. "Maybe because it had nothing to do with being seen," Keanu said. "Just with being." She smiled. But peace has a way of being interrupted, and it did, in the form of a single vibration. Anna didn't even know where her phone was. But Keanu had turned it off and tucked it away in a drawer the day they arrived. Now he held it in his hand, screen facing him. He glanced down, then up. Your manager called. Anna looked away. He continued. 10 missed calls. 2 messages. It didn't take long, she whispered. Keanu didn't move, didn't push. He placed the phone on the table between them and stepped outside. Anna sat alone for a moment, just staring at the silent screen. Her fingers reached for it. But then, she pulled back instead. She stood and followed Keanu outside. I don't want to go back yet, she said. He nodded. Then don't. But they'll be angry. They'll say I'm being difficult, ungrateful. They'll turn it into a story. Keanu looked at her, not with pity, not with answers, just presence. Let them, he said. Anna blinked. They don't. Know what you needed. You do, but it's not that simple. Nothing real ever is. She sat down on the steps beside him. The sky was starting to dim, gold turning into a soft gray. What do you do, she asked, when the world wants you to be someone you're not? Keanu looked straight ahead. You show up as yourself anyway, not because it's easy. It's because it's the only way you stay whole. Anna closed her eyes. She wanted to believe that. She wanted to believe she could return without breaking. Again, later that evening, they lit the fire again. They ate in silence. And somewhere in that silence, Anna picked up the phone, not to call anyone, just to read the message. We need you back. They're waiting. Can't disappear like this. Her hands trembled slightly, but instead of replying, she put the phone down again. They say I can't disappear, she said softly to Keanu. He didn't turn his head, just spoke into the quiet. But you did, and you're still here. She looked at him. How do you live with all the noise? She asked. Keanu's answer was slow, by knowing what's worth listening to. Anna smiled through tired eyes. I'm not there yet. You're closer than you think. The fire cracked between them. The dog sighed at their feet, and somewhere in the distance, the wind moved through the trees like a song no one had written. Yet they didn't speak after that, because nothing needed to be said. They were both living. Something beyond words. The moment before return. The space between who you were and who you're becoming. And in that space, 2 people sat in silence. Not to escape the world, but to gather the strength to walk back into it this time as themselves. The mirror and the mountain sky turned silver the next morning. Not gray from sadness, but silver like silence stretched across the sky. Soft, wide, open. Anna woke up before the fire had even burned out. Her blanket was still wrapped around her shoulders as she stepped onto the porch, her bare feet against the wooden floor. Keanu was already sitting outside, eyes steady on the woods. He didn't greet her with words. He didn't need to. Simply reached out and handed her a warm mug. Anna sat beside him. The air was colder today. The kind of cold that clears thoughts and sharpens quiet. I dreamed, she said. Keanu looked at her. I was back on set, but I was invisible. I kept walking through rooms, through people, trying to speak, trying to work, and no one saw me, not even when I shouted. Keanu's voice was calm. And how did it end? You were there, she said. You were just sitting on the edge of the stage, drinking something. He looked at me like I was real. Didn't answer. He didn't need to. She leaned her head back against the wooden post and whispered, I don't think I've ever felt more like myself than I do here. That's because no one's asking you to perform here, Keanu said. Not even you. Nah. Look down. Her fingers wrapped tight around the mug. But it's not real, right? She asked. This peace, this stillness, it won't last. It's real, he said gently. Just not common. Then how do I keep it? You don't? He answered. You return to it when you forget. She breathed in, then out. Deep and full. Will you come with me? She asked suddenly. Keanu raised his eyes. When I go back. He didn't speak for a long time, then said, I can't walk your road, Anna, but I can remind you where it starts. They sat in stillness again. A longer one this time. It's a kind of silence that stretched out into the forest and didn't rush back. Later, Anna asked if there was a place nearby they could hike to. There's a ridge, Keanu said. An old wooden lookout tower. No one goes there anymore. It Steep, but it's worth it. Anna looked toward the trees. Let's go. The trail was narrow, the path uneven. She slipped twice, but didn't complain. Keanu walked beside her, but never ahead. When she paused, he paused too. It took them an hour to reach the top, and when they did, Anna froze. The view opened like a secret, hills stretching into mountains.
Ow.
Rivers threading through valleys like silver veins. The sky sat low and wide, holding everything beneath it in quiet strength. She stepped to the edge and whispered, "This is what stillness looks like." Keanu leaned against the wooden railing. This is what truth feels like. They stood like that, facing the vastness. Then slowly, Anna spoke. When I was little, I used to think being famous would make me feel important. Keanu didn't answer, but it didn't. It just made my loneliness louder. It does that, he said, and people always ask me what it feels like to live their dream. She laughed softly, but I don't think they understand. Sometimes living the dream means forgetting who you are, just to keep it alive. Keanu looked over. Do you remember who you are now? Anna thought for a long time. I think I'm someone who wants to be seen, ... without having to shout. Keanu nodded slowly. Then Anna asked something unexpected. Have you ever broken? The air shifted. Something heavier entered the quiet. Keanu looked toward the mountains. Yes. How did you heal? His voice was soft. Almost broken. Letting the brokenness stay for a while, by not rushing it away, by not hiding it under work or smiles, just ... Letting it speak, Anna's eyes filled again. Not from pain, but from recognition, because in his words, she heard her own story. They sat there until the wind picked up. On the way back down, Yana said, I'm not afraid to return anymore. Keanu glanced at her. Why? Because now I know where to return to when I get lost again. And he smiled. Because that was the answer. Not escape, not isolation, but memory. A memory of peace, a memory of being seen. They reached the cabin just before sunset. Anna packed her bag slowly. Keanu watched from the window. You're sure? He asked Anna. Nodded. They'll still talk, he said. They'll still expect. They'll still misunderstand you. I know, she replied. But I'll understand myself. They stood at the door, the dog friend rested by her feet. Thank you, she said. Keanu shook his head. No need. But she stepped forward and hugged him. Not brief, not rushed. A full, grateful embrace. When they let go, she whispered, You reminded me who I was. And you didn't ask me to explain it. Keanu's smile was quiet. Then my job is done. She walked to the car. The air was thick with silence. Not heavy, just full. As she closed the door and looked back, Keanu raised one hand. Not a wave, not a goodbye. Just presence, and she knew no matter where she went, he would still be part of the quiet that healed her. She didn't need to be loud to be hard. City was loud the moment she returned. Honking horns, flashing lights, voices on top of voices. She stepped out of the car and felt the weight return, not fully, but enough to make her breath shorter. But something was different now. It wasn't the world that changed. It was her. Anna walked into the building without sunglasses, without a hat, without anyone around her. Her hair was tied back, her bag slung over one shoulder. No assistant. No manager. Just her as she entered the studio lot. People paused, some stared, some whispered, some avoided her eyes. She didn't flinch, didn't look down. She walked straight to the main office, knocked once and stepped in. The executive who had thrown the careless comment days ago was inside, leaning over notes. When he saw her, he stood quickly. Look, I'm glad you're okay. Everyone's been trying to reach you. There's been a lot of pressure, the press has been asking. And she raised her hand gently, not to silence him, but to stop the noise. I know, she said softly. I've seen the messages. You left without notice, he said. That's not how we do things. You're right, Anna said. But maybe it should be. He blinked. Maybe we should allow people space to break quietly, she continued. Maybe we should stop assuming being professional means being unfeeling. Opened his mouth, but no words came out. Anna stepped closer. Her voice never rose. It didn't need to. I showed up every day, sick, tired, anxious. And when I finally broke, your first reaction was to remind me how tired everyone else was. He looked down. Anna's voice remained soft, but her strength filled the room. Don't need an apology. I need change. Then she turned and walked out. No anger, no performance, just truth. Outside, someone approached her, an intern. Young, nervous. I saw what happened, the girl said, and I just wanted to say thank you. For walking away, for coming back. Anna smiled. Thank you for seeing it. She stepped into makeup for the first time since she left. The woman brushing powder onto her face moved gently with care. Anna looked into the mirror. For once, she didn't feel like a mask was being put on. She felt like herself, just clearer, when she stepped onto the set. Everyone paused. Keanu was already there. He looked up. When she walked in, she walked over and stood in front of him. You were right, she said. About what? It's not about escape. It's about memory. He nodded once. You remembered. Anna took her place in front of the camera. The director gave quiet instructions. The lights came up, but she didn't wait for the cue. She looked into the camera and said softly, Let's begin. Everyone on set froze for a beat. Then the director whispered, Action. The scene began. She spoke each line with truth. It's not force. She moved with calm. It's not fear. And every eye in the room noticed it. Everyone understand what changed. Anna didn't perform for them. She showed up for herself. After the shoot, she walked off set and found Keanu waiting near the exit. They didn't need to talk. They just walked down the hallway side by side. Someone passed them, holding a phone to their ear. Yeah, she's back, but she's different now. Anna heard it. But didn't stop. Outside, the sun was setting behind the buildings. The gold light painted everything softer. Coffee? Keanu asked. Only if it's quiet. Anna smiled. They walked together toward a quiet cafe. No cameras followed. No one shouted. And in the fading light, two people who didn't need to fix each other simply shared space. Because the real kindness wasn't in the silence. It was in the presence. And that's what Anna carried with her now. Not fame, not applause, not the need to be like, but the memory of a cabin. A fire, a dog, a man who said little the day she realized she didn't need to shout, "Oh," finally be heard.